Twirling Candy by Candy Ride. On the track, he showed raw talent and pure power. He broke the 7 furlong track record of the Malibu. He stretched out to excel at 9 and 10 furlongs and was just unbelievably versatile as a racehorse. At stud, he's following right along in Candy Ride's legendary footsteps here at Lane's End. So far, he's sired 21 Greatest Stakes winners, 7 of them being millionaires, and 9 Grade 1 winners. All that success has rolled over to the sales ring as well, where his yearling average climbed to over $160,000, and he's even had 7-figure yearling and 2-year-old sales. Twirling Candy's out of the Chester House Mare House of Danzig. There's a firm in that family, and Candy Ride's proven how well he crosses with Stormcat and other major lines like Northern Dancer, Sadler's Wells, Danzig, and Mr. Prospect. When you factor in his sheer ability and that pedigree, he's flat out outstanding value at his stud fee. Well, John, you mentioned Twirling Candy. He's having an outstanding year. I do these Lanes End Legacy videos, and he's won like 6 of them this year. He seems to really be having a great year. What are you noticing in some of his offspring that either you've trained or you're watching run that he had as a racehorse?
Well, what I see is that the versatility, they're winning on grass, they're winning on dirt, and he himself was a big, tough horse. He was all horse even before he went to stud. When he was in the barn as a 3 and 4 year old, he's a big, strong horse, out of a very good Chester House mare. So, I think the versatility is what I see in his offspring.
Michael, I want to give you a little credit, but also my wife for turning me on to how good Rombauer Chardonnay is. But this son of Twirling Candy got you your first classic win. I'd imagine after having Rombauer, you probably take another little extra peek when you see some of these Twirling Candies. What do you notice in the Twirling Candies that you saw in Rombauer?
Very athletic, very athletic. These are horses that are doing. They're sprinting on the grass. They're winning in classic distances. They're showing up repeatedly on Saturday afternoon type stakes. I think, obviously, being by Candy Ride is the sire of sires. Twirling Candy himself is just giving you a lot of athlete with a lot of upside.
Bo, one that's near and dear to my heart for a couple of reasons. It was pain that turned into joy. I bet against Concrete Rose a few times, but she stuffed me in a locker pretty well. This daughter of Twirling Candy, and Twirling Candy has just been off to an outstanding start. I've been doing these Lanes and Legacies. He's had like 6 this year. I'm sure you have a special place in your heart for Twirling Candy as well.
He's absolutely one of my favorite sires. I mean, he's just a real racehorse sire. His averages at the sales, I think, is somewhere around 150, 175. And he can get you any type of horse. I mean, I think he's got 9 Grade 1 winners now. His average earning index is well above average. And he can get you any type of horse, whether it's short on the grass or long on the dirt. He throws some runners.
And what was it about Concrete Rose when you saw her? She wasn't very expensive, if I can remember, right? Under 100,000?
Right. 61,000. I bought her at Facey Tipton, Maryland. It was one of those things where her breeze was a little funny, right? She just kind of hadn't, early on the breeze, she was kind of figuring it out. And I was sitting past the wire. And once she got to me, that's when she still really started rolling. So I saw something different that most people didn't. And that was just where in the breeze she was. But she was beautiful. I mean, she was correct. She just, that one day didn't click or check every box for every buyer. And that made her affordable for me.
Rajiv, I'll never forget that time you told me the story about Twirling Candy. He's turned out to be an outstanding sire, a son of Candy Ride. I wanted you to have a chance to tell that story to all the listeners.
Yeah, well, I remember distinctively back in those days, I wasn't riding primarily in California. And John Sadler, he called my agent, Richard DePass, up at the time, and he said, look, I have this amazing horse, the only lightly raced horse, but I think he's a really special horse. And I believe Joe Rosario was supposed to ride him, and he wasn't able to ride him. He said, look, you ride this horse. And he was such a powerful horse. It was big and strong. Funny thing about the race, they couldn't even get the blinkers on. He was such a big, strong horse. And by the time they had to take him back behind the gate, put the blinkers on, I almost got scratched. took about 6 guys to try to hold him down to be able to get the equipment on. And he ran a magnificent race. And I remember distinctively John Sadler saying to my agent after the race, says, when you go back east, the one thing that you should be doing is focusing on riding horses that are by Candy Ride. He's going to be the premier stallion. And sure enough, he wasn't wrong at all. Candy Ride, Twirling Candy, and just that whole lineage has been such highly productive producers in our industry.
Peter, this year I did these Lanes End Legacy videos trying to highlight Lanes End Stallion horses throughout the year. And the name that kept popping up for me was Twirling Candy. He's one of my favorite racehorses of all time. I jokingly tell, and I probably told it to someone else, maybe it was John Sadler, that I watched Twirling Candy's Malibu from a Texas Roadhouse bathroom in Grand Island, Nebraska. I love this horse so much, and I love his offspring as well.
Well, he's such a consistent stallion. He improves his mares at such a high rate. He improves them at a rate that the 6-figure stallions improve their mares. And he does that for both, for all the mares, including the top quality mares as well as the run-of-the-mill mares. He just improves their offspring.
That's pretty impressive. I think that when you look at his price point, comparing him to some of the bigger names with the bigger price points, to know that what these mares are producing for some of these other stallions, he's improving them at the same rate as some of the big names. I think it says a lot about who he was as a racehorse. And he's also one of those horses that I thought was unlucky to not have accomplished more, because his talent was so exceptional. We talked to Rajiv Mirage about how it was one of the most powerful horses he's ever been a part of. And watching this horse, I just thought he was so spectacular, and he ran well on synthetic surfaces as well. And he's real kind of the poster child for me of Candy Ride being so versatile. You know, him and Sydney's Candy were around the same time, and Sydney had done so well on different surfaces. Athletically, when you look at Twirling Candy, does he blow your socks off, or is he more workmanlike?
He is a little bit more workmanlike, but it's just he's got such great heart to him. And one thing that I always go back to is the balance of horses. He's got great balance, and it just means that they can move freer, move with easier fluency, and then he's got a great hip behind him, so he's got the power behind him, and then he just moves so easily.
I think so often when we have horses in certain price points, I would imagine you guys spend a lot of time of hey, if you're going to spend 60, spend it 60 this way. But the interesting thing, to your point about Twirling Candy, is you can almost make the argument, if you're going to spend 150, you might get the same result with this 60. It seems like a tremendous value from what he's been accomplishing.
And I agree with you. I think that I think he's the best value in the game. I've been saying that. I've been harping on about that for the last couple of years. He's my favorite horse in the Stallion barn to breed to at that price point, because he's just such great value.